Have you ever felt totally lost in the middle of a big construction project? Trying to juggle the architects, the engineers, the builders? It's a lot. Well, what if there was a way to simplify all that chaos into one single, straightforward process? Today, we're going to break down design and build contracts. Think of it as a one-stop shop for getting things built.
So you've got this great idea for a new building. Right away, you're faced with a massive question. Are you going to hire a design team and a construction team and then try to manage them both? Or are you going to hire just one company to handle everything, from the first sketch to the final walkthrough? That choice right there is really at the heart of what we're talking about. And that second option, well, that's what we call a design and build contract, or DNB for short. The name really says it all, doesn't it? One single contractor takes on the responsibility for the entire project, both the design and the construction. For you, the client, that means one point of contact, one contract, and one team that's accountable for the whole shebang. Okay, so let's get into the nitty-gritty. How does an idea actually turn into a finished building using this model? Well, the whole process is really designed for simplicity, right from day one.
It all starts with the client's brief. That's basically you saying, here's what we want. And from that moment on, the design and build contractor pretty much takes the wheel. They develop the design, and then they build it. Now, they might use their own in-house architects, or they might bring in some outside specialists. But here's the real kicker for you, the client. It's all wrapped up in a single lump sum price. And that means you know what your budget is right from the get-go.
Now, like with any process that sounds this simple, there's always a trade-off. Choosing a design and build contract means you're weighing some pretty big advantages against some very real disadvantages. And this, right here, is the core decision you have to make.
This slide really just lays it all out, doesn't it? Think of it like a seesaw. On one side, you're piling on all these amazing benefits: speed, cost certainty, a simpler process. It's great. But to balance that out, you're giving something up on the other side. Things like your level of design control, some transparency, and maybe a bit of creative freedom. That's the fundamental trade-off. So let's dig into each side a little more.
The upsides here are pretty powerful. First off, single responsibility. No more finger-pointing between the architect and the builder if something goes wrong. The buck stops with one company, period. Second, it's faster. Because the design and construction phases can actually overlap, projects just get done quicker. And for a lot of people, the biggest draws are the fixed price and the reduced risk. If there's a flaw in the design down the line, guess what? It's the contractor's problem to fix and pay for, not yours.
But here's the other side of that coin. Once you hand over that brief, your ability to really get in there and tweak the design details shrinks a lot. And you have to remember, a contractor who is laser-focused on that fixed price might be tempted to choose cheaper materials to save a buck. You're also not going to have as much visibility into the budget breakdown and the final design. It might be more off the shelf than one of a kind, just to keep things moving efficiently.
So, given this big trade-off, when does this approach actually make the most sense? Look, it's not the right fit for every single project out there, but for certain types, it is absolutely perfect.
This quote really paints the perfect picture. Just imagine a town that needs a new community leisure center. They're not looking to build some groundbreaking architectural masterpiece. Nope, they just need a functional building with specific facilities. A pool, a gym, and certain energy performance targets. It needs to be delivered on time and on budget. Their needs are all about what the building does, not necessarily how it looks. That's a perfect job for design and build.
So yeah, let's just make a quick checklist here. The ideal design and build project is one where speed is absolutely critical. Think about schools that have to open for the new school year, or retail stores that need to launch before the holiday season. It works best when your needs are functional and you can define them really clearly from the start. And if your number one priorities are locking in your cost and minimizing your own personal risk, then yeah, design and build should be right at the top of your list.
And hey, just a quick little note for those of you who are deeper in the industry, this isn't some informal handshake deal. The whole process is governed by standardized, legally binding frameworks like the JCT or the NEC4 contracts. So everything is kept formal and completely above board.
So at the end of the day, it all comes back to this one big question. Is that trade-off worth it for you? Are you willing to hand over some of that direct control and creative influence in exchange for simplicity, speed, and knowing your costs are locked in? The answer really depends entirely on what you value most for your specific project. So the next time you're ready to build something, what are you going to choose?